have further updates coming out of Lebanon now. The Israeli military has ordered wide evacuations across about 50 Lebanese towns and villages amid looming operations against Hezbollah. Residents were told to move at least 1,000 meters to open areas for safety. The evacuation order follows a series of rocket and missile attacks from Hezbollah into Israeli territory, heightening cross-border tensions. Israel says it has struck a central Hezbollah member in southern Lebanon as part of its response, targeting key militant infrastructure. In addition, the military reports airstrikes against senior Hezbollah members in Beirut, further escalating the standoff. Border towns now face displacement and uncertainty as hostilities intensify between Israeli forces and the Iran-aligned militant group. We have further updates coming out of Lebanon, where residents in the south of the country are fleeing after Israeli strikes in response to the Hezbollah rocket fire. The news agency AFP journalists have reported heavy traffic on roads out of Sidon, with families packed into cars. Some vehicles carried mattresses on their roofs as people sought safety from the attacks. The evacuation reflects rising tensions along the Lebanon-Israel border amid ongoing hostilities. Authorities continue to warn residents in affected areas to move to safer locations immediately. Now we move on to another update with more disruptions coming out of the region. The Ministry of Defense has confirmed a suspected drone strike at the RAF Akrotiri base in Cyprus. That's coming from the British Ministry of Defense. The incident occurred near Limassol on Saturday. No casualties have been reported. The origin of the drone has not yet been confirmed. The UK has moved extra resources to Cyprus, including F-35 jets, radar and counter-drone systems, among other military hardware. Officials stress these measures are purely defensive to detect and defeat airborne threats. The strikes come after Prime Minister Keir Starmer confirmed US missile strikes from UK bases, including the ones in Cyprus. The Middle East conflict continues into its third day, with US and Israeli attacks on Iran following Khamenei's death yesterday. Over 200,000 British nationals, including military personnel, may be at risk in the region. Professor Johnston, first of all, of course, we are getting news coming out of Lebanon, Israel and Hezbollah trading fire. This is what they're talking about, regional volatility, other actors after US strikes being dragged into this conflict. How important is Hezbollah in this conflict? Does it still have those capabilities after Israel, of course, has been consistently striking it, even since that ceasefire? How capable is Hezbollah, and how crucial of a player will it be on the side of Iran as this conflict rages into its third day?
Well, the Israelis will tell you, and so will the U.S., that Hezbollah has been seriously degraded. I don't know. I'm not in a position to be able to tell you about that. But let's keep in mind that just a few weeks ago, a number of leaders in that part of the world, especially the government in Riyadh, the Saudis, said, we don't want to have a war with Iran. This could spread into a wider conflict. It could disrupt our business operations and everything else we're doing. We want to avoid this. And now they've got it. And the Iranians, who are Shia Muslims, are not at all on the same wavelength as the Sunni-dominated Middle East. This is a dispute that goes back 1,401 years within Islam. And that certainly is an important factor in what's going to play out here now that Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu have started this war.
Dr. Chadha, we are, of course, getting some updates from Britain as well. There was some alleged reporting yesterday that there were Iranian missiles heading for the said base. But now this base in Cyprus, the RAF Akrotiri in the country, has been confirmed as a place which will have US missiles launched from it. How will the Iranians respond to this? Will it see now Britain as enabling the United States? And will those 200,000 British nationals in the region be at risk? Or will the Iranians see this as only American action?
Right. I mean, this was in some way, I would say this was bound to happen the moment Iran or the Iranian regime and Iran's proxies had vowed to in some way continue to uphold Iranian sovereignty and fight the war for Iran as well. So whether it's them striking out of Lebanon, or whether it's them in a way striking UK's bases in Cyprus, it's all interlinked in one way or another. It is a sign of the conflict getting wider and bigger and engulfing more and more regions. I mean, specifically with regard to UK, we remember that Prime Minister Keir Starmer had recently authorized in some way US and said that they could use British bases for defensive strikes. So that in a way does, engage UK into this conflict, probably not in as direct manner as it does Israel and US, but it does bring US allies into the picture. In terms of evacuation, I mean, I suppose the UK authorities are taking cognizance of what's happening. They have over 200,000 British nationals across Gulf regions. So their priorities would be for UK now, that is, it's officially in some way being targeted. Their priorities would be to make sure that these people are, taken care of. There is an emergency evacuation that is undertaken. But let's not forget, this does raise a lot of worry. This does raise a lot of questions with regard to the capabilities of all of these regional powers, whether they stand on one side or another of this conflict to ensure that there are no more loss of lives. I mean, it looks like that in itself is unfortunately not the priority on either sides right now.
Indeed. We have some more updates coming out of Lebanon. The Lebanese President Joseph Aoun says rocket attacks on Israel threaten his government's efforts to keep Lebanon out of regional war. He said missiles launched from Lebanese territory undermine the state's attempts to avoid military confrontations. Iran-backed Hezbollah claimed responsibility for rocket and drone attacks on Israel. The strikes were in retaliation for the killing of Iran's supreme leader. Aoun urged restraint as tensions rise along the Lebanon-Israel border. Now we have some news coming in from the United States. U.S. Secretary